Hello, friends. Hello, friends. It's me, Cynthia. I am here live in Asheville today with Greengirlstudios. This is our weekly stream, and thank you so much for joining me today. Today, we have a lot sale, and I'm going to continue showing the process of wax making or wax master making on the piece we started on Wednesday while I was in Florida checking on my mom. So I have a little salamander. I don't know if you caught the Wednesday stream, but this is the piece that we worked on. And we're going to continue on that today. All right, let's see here. I see some of my friends. Hello, Allison. Hello, Kay. Hello, Jeanette. Hello, Karen. Hey, Katney. Yes. Hello, my friends. Tell me where y'all are from. We're in Asheville right now. We were in Orlando, or Oviedo, I should say. It's a suburb of Orlando. And there's a lot of damage out there from Hurricane Milton. Not like Asheville, but my mom's, the drive to her property is really pitted. She has a kind of a gravelly road, and it's just chewed up. I don't know. It doesn't look right. I didn't love driving on it. It scraped the bottom of my car. All this like pits and stuff going over. And I was like, this is not good. This is so not good. Hello, Michelle from Southwest Missouri. I was born in Missouri. Hello, Angela. Hello, Wendy. Our friend Wendy is there. Oh, Allison in Connecticut. Liz, Arizona. Let's see. Karen says, I hope your mother's doing well. My mom is okay. It's as good as it's going to get, I guess. She's okay. Hello, Jeanette. Hello, my friends. All right. Oh, let's see. Oh, the UK. 2300. What is that, Azalea? You know the military time, isn't it? Isn't that like, wait, I know how to do this. My brother taught me. My whole family. My dad would say, because he was in the military, he would always do the military time, and he was trying to test us on it. We could never get the hang of it. 11, too. Clem. I was going to say 1 o'clock. I wasn't close. Oh, hello, Bobby from Arkansas. Hello, June. I see Wendy, Rosie. Yes. Oh, our friend Carrie Arase. Hello. Hello, my friends. All right. Katney says, just subtract 12. You know, I as soon as I read that, I was like, of course, it's just the subtract. I know. Kelly says, I hope the damage isn't too bad at your mom's, Cynthia. And yes, it's 11. Yes, it's not too bad. It's not like here. I mean, I went on one of my trails today, one of my trails that I love, called Big Berea, or maybe another friend called it Big Berea. And I was like, well, Berea. And it's on a creek. It's called Big Creek. And anywhere there was water in town, like creeks and everything, all of that stuff was just like overrun. I was like, how is it that the water was like, I was looking at the bank and to the creek. The creek's only like, like this deep usually in the shallow part. Some of the areas are maybe 2 or 3 feet deep. It's a shallow creek. It's not very deep at all. And now when you go through, there's so much more light because there's so many trees are down. And it was I only went like a mile and a half, and I felt like I'd gone, I don't know, because you're scrambling up and down under trees, over trees. It was different, and it was kind of, it was a little bit like, I didn't like it, but I was happy to be in the woods. It was nice to be in the forest. Oh, my friend Ann Gardan. We're going to do a live in Tucson. I got to book my tickets. I was on text with a bunch of my friends going, all right, when are y'all going to be there? Who's going? Anybody in my friends here, or anybody going to Tucson this year? That's in January, the beginning of January, and we're plotting it out. I've been in communication with some of my favorite stone people, trying to figure out what we're gonna, you know how it is. You're like, hey, do you have this? What's new? So you can kind of you can kind of get in there and kind of put your like your not fit in, but you kind of get in there first. Clem says, I would like to go, but need some tips on where to stay. Well, that's pretty much all of us. That's the thing, is Tucson used to be, and this was kind of, it was funny, and now I think of it, we always stayed like sardines the early days because it was so expensive. I mean, it's still expensive to go, but a lot of the artists would be like, all right, who's going? How long, what show are you going to be? And it would be good if you could kind of carpool. You could all fly into the same place and sort of split expenses if you could share a car. Because a lot of times, you're there all day long working a show. But the last time when we went as shoppers. And
that was so good.
That was, well, how do you say it? Ideal. Oh, Clem says, we don't mind seedy motels. Well, listen, they were very, the early times, it was very seedy. We were at a Motel 6. They were asking, and this is in the 90s, $120. Back then, that was like $300 a night. We couldn't hardly believe it. And in Tucson, the sheets were damp. We were like, no. But we lasted one night. We ended up going somewhere a little outside of town. But people kind of jack up the prices for that time of year. So the best thing to do, if you can do it, is split an Airbnb with your friends. If you can get some friends together, what we used to do would be like, all right, you get to pay a little less if you are going to share the bed or if you're going to get the couch. Whoever gets a bed to themselves and a room by themselves, then, you know how it is. It's just trying to make it even. I see our friend Carol. I see Cindy. Hello, my friends. And Ann says, seedy hotels are in abundance in Tucson. Yeah, that's for sure. There's a lot of seedy hotels. And you know what? It's kind of, you don't spend much time in the hotel rooms. I don't know if you all remember, but we were at the Red Roof Inn? Or was it a Red Lion? I can't remember now. I think it was a Red Roof by the airport. And Cindy says, are you going to do a group outing in Tucson? That would be fun. I don't know, Cindy. That's a nice idea. Usually when we go, we plan it. We try not to plan too much because I've been going long enough to know where my people are that I buy from, because I don't know. Sometimes it's always fun to find new vendors. That's always fun. But the hard thing is there are so many dealers out there. There are literally like thousands. There were thousands of dealers. And knowing I'm kind of a creature of habit. And so I always go to I tell my people months in advance what I'm looking for so they can be shopping for me. Or we buy stuff and we talk well in advance. And before, when I would do it, I'd be like, listen, Tani, save them sapphires for me. Oh, thanks. Look at this. Little daughter, I don't know if you see it. She made me some chai with some pumpkin spice cream on top. That's nice. Oh, and chocolate. Wow, thank you. That's delightful. The Tucson, a lot of times you make a plan. You say, okay, I'm going to go to the Gem Mall, Holodome, Jogs, wherever you're going to go. And there are wholesale shows that you have to have a resale license to get into. And there are shows that you have to have a brick and mortar to get into and make a certain amount of money to even walk in the door. Now, these are the shows that there are armed guards at every 5 feet. Those shows. I went in one time with a friend of mine that has a store, and I was like, this is a fun experience to look at all this, but it's not where I'm shopping, because people are going in, their whole booth would fit in a briefcase, and it's tens of thousands of dollars. Oh, I see. Kelly says, Tucson is beat heaven to me and great for supplies, so would love to go, but too far to go for me. Are you looking forward to going? Yes, I always look forward to going. I also cut stones. I get rough, and sometimes I'll sit on that rough because I think I'm going to carve it. But then if I don't get to it, I'll just send it off to a friend of mine that can make it happen. Sometimes it's good. You don't actually know because there's no way to know unless you have specialized tools that maybe a geologist would have, so you can't see into the rock, you can see the specimen that you have. And what I'm talking, let me see, I've got these specimens here on my windowsill, kind of illustrate this. Let me see. All right, so this is a slab of labradorite kind of rainbow. A lot of times they'll sell it like this and they'll weigh it. And a piece like this would be like, I don't know, $6-7. This is also probably considered C grade. And what you do with this slab is you get what's called a lapidary grinder, and it spins really fast. It's like a disc sander, because then you could put the pieces on it and it will you can shape it. I also have what's called a lapidary slab maker, and it's to make these. So this is called a slab. And what you would do is you would just draw lines with a Sharpie and cut out with the special saw blades that are designed for stone. And the reason you use the lapidary equipment is that it's hooked up with a drip so that you could keep the water dripping onto the stone. Because otherwise, if you just went dry, it would get really hot, and you would also have tons of dust and powder, and you don't want to breathe that in. It's very bad to breathe in. So the lapidary tools, for the most part, always have some way of dripping water down onto your stones. And it's so fun. I would love to show it. It's really noisy though. It makes kind of a horrendous sound, especially if you push. And you have different blades that you use, and it's really fun. It's one of my most fun things that I do. Kelly says, could you do a video on how to cut stones? Yeah, I could. I just have to figure a way to do it in such a way where I can talk, but not, like I can talk without the sound of the lap grinder. I'm not really sure how to do that, but I'm sure, I know that people do it. So maybe, I don't know, maybe we can figure it out. I don't know. Maybe if we had 2 cameras going or something, I don't know. Maybe it couldn't be live, or I could do it where I just show it in a video, like in portions, and then talk over. It'd have to be pre-recorded, so you guys do not want to sit there and listen to a lap grinder. It's not that annoying in real life.
Could be an evergreen video.
An evergreen. Thank you, daughter. That's what we would do. June says, I don't think I can go to Tucson this year. Just had knee replacement surgery this past Wednesday. Man, that's horrendous. I hope you get better. I know the problem with the knee. I am always messing up my knees. Kelly says, you would have to do a pre-record. Yeah, I think so. That's true. I could do that. Because I like, the live is kind of fun because you can just, it's kind of like you can do whatever you want. But pre-record is a lot more thought-provoking, and where I am not great, because that turns into my bad habit of being a perfectionist, which is like so much self-sabotage, because I'm like, it gotta be perfect, because who's going to want to watch it? Actually, nobody cares. I don't think they care. But then I get messages, and then I find out maybe sometimes they do care.
You know what? I have watched so many knitting tutorial videos that are like 15 years old, and you can tell it was taken on somebody's Apple iPod 1.0.
I know.
And they held it between their knees while they're filming.
Yeah.
And I still appreciate the knowledge. I'm there for that. As long as I learn it. I don't care if it's
I'll do that.
grainy and bad audio quality.
All right, well, I'm going to flip the... Kenny says, noise canceling mic work. Yeah, that's possible. We're going to switch this over so I can show you where we're at with...
Is your phone on?
Mm-hmm.
Is it plugged in?
It's plugged in.
Your phone is always giving us trouble.
I know.
It's always your phone that's overhead.
It's always my phone. That's why I told us, let's always put mine in the front because hers is newer.
Well, no, it's
camo.
Yeah, it's just kind of difficult.
There we go.
Doing this. No, hold on. Sorry, guys.
There's always something. I apologize.
Oh, you know what it's doing when it moves? Is it's trying to face track.
Oh, well, then
Look at it
turn that
moving.
off.
I don't know how to. Well, maybe it's this. No, that doesn't make any sense for it to be that.
I noticed it was following me. I was like, how is that happening?
Yeah, if you guys notice that it's following our faces, it's trying to face track, and I don't know how to turn that off.
That must be a new thing.
That's pretty annoying, actually. How do you, would this change it?
No, go to framing.
Where do you see that?
There. Sorry, friends.
Oh, yeah, automatically pan to keep you in frame. That must have been accidentally clicked.
There we go.
Yeah, there we go.
Center
Goofy.
stage.
Okay.
So goofy.
So we need to. Sorry, y'all. This happens for some reason.
Every once in a
It just
every
be difficult. Not every single time, just sometimes it happens. Just give that a second. Well, in the meantime, what else have we been doing? We went to.
Oh, I want to show this.
Oh,
I
yeah,
did some
show
watercolor last night. So I did this on a live one day when we were out in the parking lot. And then last night I did a picture.
That's real
So
pretty.
there was, this is too much of this FinTech pearlescence. And these guys are really, really sparkling. And you know, one of the things about sparkly is that you kind of need a little bit of matte. So this side's matte. And this is a fire. I was just being experimental. This side is this material here, which I've shown so many times. I love this. This is solidified gouache cakes right here. And this is my, I would say this is my desert island. And by desert island, I mean, if they were to say art supplies, of course it'd be wax would be number 1, gouache would be number 2. Hopefully this would include the paper, you know. But anyway, look how, so this paper is brown, and with gouache, look how that's like so intensely opaque. So this doesn't have, on this side, there's no sparkly. This side has so much sparkle that you can't even really see. And there was a meteor shower not too long ago. And this is, somebody took a photo over Lake Junaluska a couple weeks ago. And I liked it. And so I did this kind of little watercolor. It's where Aiden works. That lake, did you see? I'll send him that when I decorate it.
Oh, that's nice.
So anyway, that's a fire that I took a video of it. And the fire, we put in these rainbow packets to make it like all these different rainbow colors. And the cool part about that is it's like copper, and I think copper does the blue colors when you get it hot. So then I went in the house and I was like, okay, let's see if that's true. Let's get some wire. And I was throwing in different metal, and it did do that. I was like, what's aluminum foil going to do? So we were playing mad scientist and like catching everything on fire. And that was a lot of fun. And that was a few nights ago. Actually, it was like 2 weeks ago. Oh.
See, you know, I'm getting
on?
real angry because that thing was like failed, and then all of a sudden it just switches it. I didn't even tell it to switch it, y'all.
All right,
Can you
well, I
even
guess we're
believe that
switching.
goofiness?
I guess we're switching
Yeah.
now. Here
Hello,
we are.
I know. What was that about?
Well,
I had it like
those.
in my hand and I was like not even ready to
Oh,
switch
thank
it.
you. Oh, Colita says you could paint on leaves. Oh, yeah. So what I'm going to do with this, I don't know. I was going to show this. Maybe I'll do it after. I was letting this dry, and I flattened it. And my plan is, I could do this really quick to show how fun it is. Can you get me a little bit of water? What am I doing?
Already on my way. I just knew.
Now it's reading my mind.
What did it do?
I don't know. That's what Khalid. Oh, it's probably from all of this action of her getting frustrated, and Azalea's ready to like punch out camo.
I'm always ready to punch out camo.
Who isn't?
When I want it to switch, it won't. And when I don't want it to switch, when it's actively in my hand and I've got it like under my nose, then it wants to switch.
Mm-hmm. Perfect.
Like, oh, thanks.
So this side is the gouache, the matte side, and I pressed it down so that it would be flat. And this is all wet on wet in here. So you can see you get these little patterns of like where it kind of bloomed. So this was really kind of loose and wet. And this morning, the whole paper was really crinkly. And I flattened it so that it would be a little bit flat. All right, so let's open this up and add some the sparkle. It'll take like 2 seconds. Y'all will love this.
Yeah, she says now it's reading your mind. It needs to read my mind a little faster next
It
time.
needs to read it real fast. I'm going to put this over. Too many things stacked up. Love the shimmery magic. We're going to put some shimmery magic on this side. All right, this is the best part. This is my favorite part. I put this at the very end because it's so delightful. What I'm going to do with this side is put matte or the black and cover up these areas. I'll just show it. Well, I'll show it when I get it. Maybe the other time because I'm using these right now. It'll be too much back and forth. So in this fire, when I was looking at the photo and videos that I took, the brightest parts were the little things that were against the little specks or embers that were floating up. I'm going to get this nice and creamy. Has a little bit of a texture, so you can get your brush in there. Oh, watch, this is so fun. All right, I'm going to do very opaque. Just add some. It's not really showing it on the thing of how pretty it looks. Because these were going, there's a bunch of them, and they're like stars. I'm going to put them in different colors. And it really shows up. You can really see it. Like it's like really opaque glitter look. So when you angle the page, you can see it. And what I'll do is go around and highlight some of my flames to show the heat. That's kind of, it's pretty fun to do this part actually. I save it for the last. It's like the treat. I don't know if you can see that, but that's how you do it. Is you just go in. First layer is, sometimes I'll do pencil. Let's get some blue flecks. So when you open the page, you get that kind of little bit of, they call it duochrome because of the way the paints are, like the pigments are kind of like faceted, kind of like glitter. So when you look at it in different light, you get the different colors shimmering. I tend to mix, so I'll mix up a couple of colors in here. Let's see, a little bit of this together. And I like to get it wet so that it'll flow. So I'm going to do a little bit of the, and see how that goes. You just, and I'll use just a little bit of water to help it. And what I'm doing right now is I'm angling the paper. I'm angling it so it's kind of giving me those cool patterns. And I'm blending it out so it doesn't, we don't have any sharp edges. I'm not doing these, all of these, but you can give them a little bit of a halo. Oh, you can see that. And I'll blow that so the pigments will settle in where gravity is taking it. And so then you just get a little bit while there's a, see how it's wet? You can go in there and drop another little, I don't know if you can see that spread. I dropped it in and it'll fan out and make a beautiful little pattern. I'll do more on this side. And give it a little bit of, I don't want it to spread too much. But the good thing is if I don't like what I've done, I can always go in with more black gouache and just carve it back out. And see, one of the things you can do is you can change the direction. See how it will flow in the water, will make these neat random patterns. You can use a heat gun and get it to flow. kind of see that, how it did that. Now, that's one of the things that you don't usually get on Procreate, Pocket Procreate. Can't really get that. Slide my glasses on. Oh, I see Cherie joining us. Hello, Cherie. Now I'm going to pop this out. This is the gouache. So while that's drying, see, it's like making patterns. If I wanted to stay looking like this, what I could do, I could add more to it, or I could hit it with a heat gun and dry it and then move on to the next part. Usually I do that because I'm too impatient to wait. I'm going to get a little bit of this black over here. Azalea, come look at this. It looks like we have frozen for a second.
Oh, what the heck is going on? That's the ceiling. Yo.
Yeah.
Hello. Sorry, y'all. I don't know what that is about. It's not frozen. It just flipped itself. Camo is going to get a lawsuit.
Karate chop. Oh, thank you, Linda. Let's hit that like button. I appreciate that. Yeah, if there's a lot of activity on our site or on our page, then it gets boosted. So a lot of people will see it. So that's the good part about that. So what I'm doing now, quickly, is I'm going to accentuate my comet by making all the rest of this kind of pop. So I'm going to add a little bit of this black that went on strong. So I'm going to add it like that. And it'll make everything kind of matte finish. I made it come on. I might have been a little too strong that time. Try to do this without smearing what I've already done. But if I smear it, it's just a sketch anyway, so it's no big deal. I start a lot of my paintings this way. I don't know if anyone else does this, where you make little mini thumbnails of everything. And I tell you, it's a lot of fun to make this. You can kind of plot your palette this way. And what I'm doing right now, I'm trying not to lift from the bottom, because if you do, it's kind of the opposite effect of what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get it where I'm covering up and mattifying some of the sparkle, because sometimes it's a little much and you can't really see. This isn't watercolor paper, by the way. This is a type of craft paper, and it doesn't have, it's not really designed for this, but you know, it works really well. And it's kind of the same material as paper bag material. It's what it's like. I made that mountain look ultra terrible. But see, this is these are the stages. It's going to look like, it's not going to look great at first. And I'm okay with that, because you know what? I know how to fix it if I don't like it. So this is a real sharp. So all I have to do is run a wet brush and it'll kind of blend that down. And it's like most of the things that most of the materials I work with, it's a push and pull of light and dark, of form and negative space. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let that dry. And it's kind of fun to do, to move the paint around. But you can see there's a lot of, this can get really hyper detailed. But that was what I showed you when I first opened it. It was the first layer. And it's kind of fun to go back and forth. And I'll revisit drawings. I'll do the first layer and I'll be like, yeah, I'll get to that again. And while it's drying, I'll put it aside and I'll come back to it later. No problem. All right, I'm going to let that do its thing for a minute and dry. I don't have my heat gun handy, so we'll move over and get back over to this stuff. Sheree says, this looks like a village under attack from the skies. It kind of is. It was under attack with a comet. All right, so we'll show a little bit more on this. It's so fun. I'm excited about it. Although I feel like I do a lot with this shape. Maybe. It just seems like it. I don't know if it is. What I have in here is denatured alcohol. And There's probably a little bit of water because I used a water bottle to put the rest of the alcohol in. Because I have a habit of just putting this little tin cup or aluminum cup on the top, and that is what I'll use as my cover. But it doesn't make a very good cover because it's not watertight, so it's not very good. Oh, Kalita says, love how the magic emerges. Yes, it is kind of that way. That kind of push and pull. Oh, thank you, June. June says, very impressive. All that kind of artsy stuff is kind of like a magic trick. I feel like it's kind of like a magic trick a little bit. You guys are talking about a movie, Shuri, The Menu. I haven't seen that movie. I can't remember the last movie I saw. Oh, I know. I was watching a Star Trek. Star Trek with Captain Kirk. Because, we were rewatching Greg he was saying, when he was younger, he was like, who likes Star Trek? And I was like, listen,
Me.
Star Trek is the way. It's the good stuff. Oh, I think maybe I'd do, Azalea, use your young eyes and see if I'm in
focus. Yes.
Yeah. Am I in focus?
I can see it.
All right, so this is what I have so far on this little salamander, Asheville, or Western North Carolina, the salamander capital of the world.
Lucky for you.
It is. And you know what? For I don't know how many, for 20 years we've lived here, and I never saw them. And then, like last year, I was on the perfect conditions arose, and I was able to see them, which was like twilight and very damp. It had just rained, and then all the salamanders were out. And then once I knew that they like to be kind of nocturnal, so I would wait until kind of late evening to go looking for them. The only drag then is that if you lose track of time, as I am partial to doing, not on purpose, but you know how it is, then you find yourself out in the woods trying to see, why is it so hard to see? No, it's getting dark. Oh, it's dark. That happened to me last time I was in Florida when I was visiting my mom. I went on this path and I was trying to get a good video of this alligator across the creek or not creek, it was like across the bank. And it was a great big one asleep on this big patch of sand. And I happened to look down and I noticed this track and I was like, what kind of track is that? And I started looking at it carefully and I realized what I was looking at. It was a gator track. And I was stepping on this whole area and there's all these gator tracks. And one of them, when I was like, this is kind of fresh mud. This is not an old track. This is a new track. Then I got horrified and then I was like Samwise Gamgee when he was running through the wherever, Mordor, with all that stuff clattering on his back. That was me, but with photo equipment, trying to run with a big backpack. I got so turned around, I scared the life out of the deer that was crossing over a bridge, and it was like a cartoon where he got all freaked out, fell backwards into the creek. I fell the other way. It was getting dark. My all trails wasn't working.
Goofy.
It was goofy. And then when I was like, oh, I'll just go to before I get home because I don't want my mom to see me because then it would be on if she'd seen that. So I stopped at this neighborhood market called Sprouts, and I walked in and I didn't see myself because you know how it is. And so people were staring at me and I went to the bathroom to kind of clean up. And I was like, oh my God, I went out in public like this. I was all scraped up. I had like scratches. My hair was all snagged. I had mud on my knees. I was like, oh my God, well, stop so mom wouldn't be late. And she freaks out. She's a very paranoid type person where she thinks everybody's going to get hurt. I didn't get hurt. I just got dirty. But I looked like I'd been through the wars. So that's pretty funny. And I didn't see a gator. There was no gator chasing me, by the way. It was my imagination. My mind painted it because I saw the tracks and they were big. I put my foot right next to it to see the width, and that gator's paw, I don't know what you call it, paw, claw, foot, was like its hand. It was like this wide across. It was the same width as my croc. My croc's like this because I wear a big old thick old croc. Crocodile Thornton. Nice, Clem. Sheree says, Cynthia, you go where and do what our mothers warned us not to do. I know. I'm always doing the wrong thing. Azalea was like, get down when we were at, I was trying to get a good shot of these manatees. I saw them and I was like, why do they put the rail up so far from the bank? And I was trying to climb up so I could get a better vantage point. And my brother Dwayne was like, hey, they have these guys that sit in the watchtowers watching to make sure people don't do exactly what you're doing right now.
And you were still, I saw you were like, oh, I'm just trying to step on this bottom part of the rail, but I could see one knee up. I'm like, hey,
well, that was down. Just to support myself.
You had one knee like eye level with your like face.
Well,
you had one foot that you reached on top of the high rail. I thought I could visualize it. I was like, this is a slick rail and a steep drop and into the water. She's gonna fall in. It's gonna happen right now.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't have fallen.
Yes, you would have fallen.
No, I would not.
Yeah, well,
I would have.
You say that, but you got two messed up knees. So let's be real. To be realistic,
side. Messed up knees.
You would have fallen down.
Yeah, we don't know that for
sure. Everybody in the comments right now, I don't see it, but I know what it says.
No, there's nobody making comments. That's the thing. They're probably there with me in spirit. So what I'm doing now is I'm just, this is the part that takes forever. It's called, I call it digging out the form. And what I'm doing is I'm melting around. If other jewelers are out there watching me and you're getting you're stressed out watching this freeform madness, just accept that there are more than one way to do things. And that I do have files, but I just use them differently. I was at a show, so I used to bring this kit with me to shows, and I would sit when it was slow, and I would demo this, and people would stop and watch and be like, "What are you doing? What is that?" And I'd answer questions. And this one guy watched me, stood there for probably an hour and a half, and after he was so fun, he was like, "I've been watching you. And I did not learn this way. And it's kind of watching you do this. I just want to tell you the right way to do it." So he started telling me the right way, which I knew already, which was what the right way was. I was trained by Bob Burkett, and I also had lessons from Carl Klassmeyer, both who are extremely talented wax carvers, right? And Carl carves the traditional way. He doesn't carve like this free-for-all way, which is using heat like this. Most of the time people have a pen called a wax pen or a hot pen, and it's like my thread burn. It's a little soldering iron, and you use it. It's a continuous heat source. They have some that are battery operated and some that are electrical that you can hook up, and it's a continuous hot surface or like a pen that you go in and you can move the wax around. The thing about that is that since it's a continuous heat, you're always having to set it down so that you could use another tool to get in there so that it's not too hot. There are times when you don't need heat. You'll get to a point when you won't be using heat. It'll all be like scraping like this with smaller and smaller tools. You probably noticed that I've gone from this size to this size, and it's it's one of those things. You just go in and it's like sandpaper. When you're sanding something or you're doing finishing, you start with a coarse grit and you work your way to the fine tips or the fine grade sandpaper. what I'm doing is I'm going through and I'm just enjoying carving out the little details. I'm not the lamp is hot and going, but I don't need it at this point. I'm just going in and carving and using the rounded part of my tool to dig out. And it would be easier to use the heat. So you could go in, you could use both ways. If you had a wax tool or a wax pen, you could go in there and it's fast. It goes very quickly. The drawback to that is it's melty and sometimes you can melt through to the other side. So it's just, what you get comfortable with using. So on this piece, I've been thinking about what I'm going to do for the quote. So there's a big open space here. So I have, I don't know, I could add a quote. Usually what I like to do is do like little baselines. They call them baselines in lettering, and I'll make baselines across, measure it out to see, just like this. And usually I'll measure it, but you get the idea. So, and then you go down like this. Go this side, aim it down, right down the middle. And this is the way that I will do my text. And when I'm working text, what I'll do is say I want to put a quote on here. I'll use this as my guidelines, and I'll put the letters so I can go, okay, so there's this old, if I said, what's a good, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I could put a small poem. The smaller it is, the more difficult it is to read. So it's best if it's something that's like, what is the size? Maybe 3-4 millimeter high letters. And I want to do something pretty small. Like this has, let me see. All right, it says just begin again. So it's 3 lines, and I did it where I did the baseline. The baseline is where the letters sit, and I'll do like a spine so that I'll know if I did just, I would do the J, U, and then the line, the center line would be right between the U and the S. So usually I plan it first, and then I'll know. So I could go, if this were saying, if it said just begin again, it would be the J and then the U, and then I would have that running right down the middle. And that way, what's annoying is if you start carving and it's slightly off, it makes me so crazy. I know it doesn't seem like something that should be crazy making, but I have to redo the whole thing. I have to fix it. I can't stand it for it to be like, well, one letter is slightly over to the side. No, I can't deal with that. I guess it's kind of a little bit OCD moment. Linda says, how long have you been making jewelry? You do an awesome job. Thank you, Linda. I don't know how long I've been making jewelry. Seems like I've been making jewelry all my whole life. Oh, I see Terry's joining us. Hello, Terry. And Liz says, I've been making jewelry all day practically. I'm enjoying watching you do this. It's relaxing. Oh, thank you, Liz. I'm glad. It's relaxing for me too. When I first started making this type of jewelry, when I first started wax work, it was not relaxing. It was not relaxing at all. And I didn't like it. And I really struggled. With it. And I did not have an easy time. And I thought, this is for people that have been doing it for years and years. And I didn't think I'd ever be able to get it. Because my main problem was I thought, I'm going to make a face. That was what I started with. I'm going to make this figure because, my friend Bob, he would make little figures that would look like the people from Cirque du Soleil. And I wanted to do what he did. And of course I was disappointed because I couldn't do that at the very beginning. And since my stuff was looking really primitive, it was frustrating to me because it wasn't looking how I wanted it to look. I wanted it to be perfect because I was already good at ceramics and polymer clay. And when you are not good at something after being good at something, I feel like it makes you kind of a bad student because then you don't have the patience to begin at the beginning. You want to jump to the end and be like, okay, I should be fantastic at this because I can draw. I should be able to sculpt. And forgetting what it took to learn to draw. It took me a long time to learn to draw. And when that happens, I think it's good to get that, just feel that failure and kind of live in it, sit in that moment, and just just accept it. That if you don't put the time in, you're not going to get better. You're going to be at the same spot, and not to have these expectations of things being like a professional level wax carver after only 20 hours or so of carving. You can get a lot of neat results from little tricks, but if you want to learn how to do proper wax work, sometimes it's not just about tricks. There's just basic carving, there are no shortcuts with that. Although now I know lots of shortcuts. So back then I didn't know any shortcuts. But I was at the point where I thought, I'm not going to do this anymore. This stuff is just too hard. It's not for me. It's too rigid. I don't want to deal with this. And I'd pull out my wax kit every once in a while, and I'd mess around with it. And then when I couldn't make the figure, I'd get frustrated. And my hands would be clamped tight. I'd be like scraping at it and getting frustrated. And finally, I had a breakthrough when a friend came over, and I think my friend Jamie came over, and we were just talking. I said, let's just fool with this wax a little bit. And we were talking and laughing and joking around, and I kind of lost track of what I was doing, and I looked down and I carved something. Like it was like my brain had remembered all the times that I just played with the tools, and my hands were more relaxed, and my shoulders weren't up by my ears, and I wasn't even paying attention to what I was doing. And that is when it occurred to me that this is the type of thing that is like the same thing with ceramics, is that you can't go in squeezing hard and using a tough, thick, or like a heavy grip. You need to go in and go slowly and not sit there and grip it so tight and expect it to be something it's not. Because I was expecting it to work like ceramic or something, or like wood, similar things, when this is a material that it's its own material. I've taken classes where you just drip the wax into a bowl of cold water, and that was basically the carving. I mean, there's a lot of levels to wax work. I wouldn't, that was pretty fun. I learned that at the Cultural Arts Center in Ohio. I don't know if they still teach there. Are there any Columbus, Ohio people that go to the Cultural Arts Center? So fun. I took enameling. It was like the best time of my life. I wish they had that here in Asheville. But that place was like at an armory. It was in a beautiful brick building that looked like a castle a little bit. And they had classes on weaving, painting. It was awesome. I went like 3 times a week. Good times. For years while I lived in Ohio. It was good times. So you can see the shapes are starting to kind of coalesce. You can see where I'm basically digging out my shadows. And what this is going to do is it's going to make it stand out. If it's too low of a relief, it might look muddy from a distance. And what you want is a graphic shape that really looks like what it is from a distance. So I will focus on getting the shadows underneath his arms and underneath his legs right here, so that you can see the form develop. So I noticed when the last time on Wednesday, when I'd asked if people would be interested in a Zoom type class for wax work where a lamp and some tools are provided, there was a lot of folks, and I say a lot, I think it was 4 people said that they'd be interested. So Azalea and I were talking about how to make that happen, so that you would do the class. Maybe it'd be a ring making or a pendant, basically what I'll do is like quiz everyone beforehand and say, hey, what does everyone want to learn how to do? And then make a class on that. Something like a ring maybe, or a pendant. Something easy that's not too much expectation, I guess. Liz says, that sounds cool. Yes. Oh, I see. Liz says, when I was in my 20s, I bought a book on batik, where you paint the melted wax on the cotton fabric or muslin. I really enjoyed it. It took a lot of patience. I was making wall hangings. I had a kit of that when I was in high school, and it had this little pen, this wax pen, and I practiced it. I wasn't very good at it, but it was fun, and it came out, and you had such beautiful results. Now I love ice dyeing. So I haven't done any batik in years, but I love ice dyeing. I found some tote bags that I found in my collection. I think we did a live like 3 or 4 years ago doing ice dyed tote bags when Candy Cooper was here visiting. I haven't seen her in a minute.
Last time I think we saw her was running around in Tucson. She didn't even notice us. She was busy.
Pat says, will we be able to pour the mold at your house? Well, if I did it on Zoom, then it would be on Zoom. And we would be probably direct casting. Mold making is another thing entirely. It's a whole nother process. It's not the same thing as direct casting. Direct casting is we would make a mold of the piece and then cast it in silver or bronze. Mold making would require another step. And we could make molds if you wanted molds. It just costs money, that's all. Because it's not an inexpensive process. It takes hours to make molds. Number one, the reason it takes hours is because you're having to make something that has registration marks so your piece doesn't slide, and you're planning where the pour spout's going to go. Is it going to go on this side here or here? And that means where the metal will flow into the piece. And sometimes they have to be made over. It takes hours to make a mold. Not in one go, but it's a lot of small steps. Building your box that you're going to pour the silicone in, treeing up the piece. There's just a lot of little small steps to mold making. So you can see that there's a lot of different tools required. And every little thing that I'm doing brings the piece closer to finished. Here's my favorite tool. I have so many favorites. I don't see it. I have one. It's like a little cup, smaller than this. I don't know if that will work. I don't know. So many tools, but where's my favorite? I also love these little mini files from American Surplus. Oh, Kalite says, I want to ice dye. Oh, yeah, that's so fun. There's so much potential, and it's like magic. And it always seems to always look good. We're going to make some ice-dyed asymmetrical wraps. I don't know if you have seen our booth at the Big Crafty, but we usually carry a few that my friend Wendy makes. She's out of Pennsylvania and has the company called Rough and Tumble. And she's pro level at ice dyeing and dyeing in general. And I would love to make asymmetrical wraps with different fibers. She usually does an organic cotton knit, and that's really soft and nice. But wouldn't it be also good to have one in maybe like a kind of raw silk or something? I tend to want to use I don't know. I'm drawn to those soft, silky fabrics. So now what I'm doing is I'm just refining the shape a little bit at a time, scraping away. And as I scrape away, little details start to emerge, like eyes, nose, the little mouth. And a lot can change. I'm thinking about putting a floral design in the back and making it extra textural so that you have a slick little creature lying on these little leaves. Oh, I see my other son, Sam. He says, "Good evening, family."
Hi,
Sam, we will see you Tuesday evening. Our friend Sam, my
cousin.
other son, will be here Tuesday. He will be helping us with this and that. And by helping, I mean being delightful.
That's cute.
And also helping. This Wednesday. Get ready, Sam. You're going to be working alive. Got work for you. Oh, so here, and if you don't like what this, like I said, I just did this. So here's how you get rid of it. Where's that file? Here it is. You can soften it up by doing some, what I call flame polishing. And then scrape away. Terry says, I would love a Zoom with silk and indigo dye. Oh, so fun. Oh, Terry says, I'm so excited about my Greg crafted tool. I hope they will ship soon. Soon. We're just backed up. If you're wondering, we did not lose any orders. It just takes a minute. We were out of commission for almost a month with Hurricane Helene messing everybody's stuff up. We didn't have internet, water, or electricity, so there was not a lot of work happening. Even though it seemed like we were busy from sun up to sundown.
Surviving.
Oh, yeah. A lot of surviving. I'm trying to keep up with these comments. Sometimes they're hard to read. I'm about 5 feet away from it. Oh, no. Yeah, it's about 5 feet.
That's like...
From my eyes to that?
That's like 3 feet.
That's
not my length of my body between you and the computer.
That's not the length of your body, but
because
it
I'm
seems like
like
it's forever.
5'1". I know. It's funny.
What's this say here? Wendy says, I'm trying to make a couple of pumpkin cheesecakes for 2 parties this weekend. Oh, that's nice. Oh, yeah, Terry says, no worries, just glad you all are safe and that the house is still a house. Yes, some of my friends, they don't have a house now. It's kind of, we have a friend staying with us now because their house was flooded and washed away. So it definitely gives you perspective on things. All right, I flattened that out. So I'm thinking about what I'm going to put on the back of this. So I have a few lines, maybe 5 or 6 words. I'm not sure. Oh, I've lost track of time. Azalea, it's 58. I've been going 58 minutes. I didn't realize. All right, let's get to the live. So I'll just sit here and carve all night long. Put that out. All right. And put the lid on so it doesn't evaporate. Okay, so this is how far along I am. It looks a little bit better. You could say it's not completely. This stage of scraping is the longest because I'm going to go in and do around its toes, around the eyes, and then do the text. And so the next time you see this, it should be done. I will show one more little tip. This is a fun part.
15 minutes.
I know. It's always like, come on. You didn't even do the live sale. You're only supposed to do 30 minutes. I know, but once you get on a roll, it's hard to stop. All right, so this is Roncinol lighter fuel. I can't get it with my fingernail. Okay. So take a chewed up brush that you don't like anymore and put a little bit. I don't know if you even saw that. It was like a drop. And then look how fun this is. So if you're at the point where you're wanting to smooth things out and you don't want to see all the shiny, you want to see like where you're at. Maybe it's distracting. You want to smooth down the surface a little. You use the lighter fluid and it kind of melts the wax a little bit. Check this. That's kind of cool. And then look at this. See, it's a little bit. Let's add more. More is more. Whoops. That could have been weird. That could have gone right into my drink. Right. It's like giving it a massage. There you go. Look how good it's looking. So, you can get a nice smooth look at the back now. Very smooth. And then to clean your brush, put a little bit on, a little drip. Put on a paper towel. And wipe it off, and then your brush is ready for the next time. All right, that's what I have. I'm going to put a quote on the back, maybe a little piece of poetry or something motivational, maybe. Not sure yet. It's maybe something to do with resilience. I'm not sure. If you think of something, go ahead and put it in the comments. Probably not something like, you can do it. Probably not that. Or just breathe. Probably not that either. Because even though salamanders breathe through their skin, I probably wouldn't put that either. I'll have to think about it. But there you go. That's pretty cool. All right, let's go look at what we have for the lot sales. Let's see what's happening with that. I have a little brush that I got at the Big Crafty last year. It's on my desk upstairs, and it's a little small handcrafted brush. I usually use that to get all my wax crumbs. But I don't have it because it's on my desk upstairs. Kate made these little things for me. Isn't that nice of her? And you can reuse that. I have a little crock pot. Oh, that's one I'll show. That's super fun. That would make an excellent class where we dip things in this big crock pot full of melted wax. All right, hand me some things, little daughter. Oh, here's this. You can see a little bit now that the black gouache is beginning to dry, but it's still wet. Isn't that neat how that pattern, it looks just like the flow of fire. All right. Oh, Kaliki says salamander symbolizes protection from fire. Maybe something along those lines. Clem says, I thought it was going to be an alligator. Hey, listen, Clem. It is not done yet. You never know what might happen. I do love alligators. Okay, so let's start with, I have this little face in bronze. I have these in pewter. They're on my website, but I have a bronze one here. And it has the detail. I copied a picture from the International Space Station of a picture of the moon to get some of this craters. And look how pretty it is. I love that little face. I actually carved a bigger one that I'm going to try and have carved in moonstones or labradorite. We'll see how they look. So this is $3.97. It's $28. Now let me explain our live sale. So right now we're streaming through what is called StreamYard. We're streaming through YouTube, Facebook, and our Facebook page. So 3 places. And so if you're watching on YouTube, you can't see the comments on Facebook. So what we do is we look at all the combined things and we pick from the first ones. I don't have deep stock on any of this. I make what I like at the beginning of the week. And since I don't know how many people are going to want something, I usually make 1 to 2 pieces. And if there is a lot of desire for a piece, then I'll go back and make more. So all is not lost. If you don't get an invoice for a piece right now, if you comment in the comments section, that will say, you just put the lot, like 400 here, and you don't have to put anything else. Just say lot 400, and Azalea will read through the comments when we're done. And if you are the lucky one to get the one button or whatever it is that we're showing, then you'll get an invoice. If you've never shopped with us before, then you'll want to make sure that you message us with your email address so we can send you a invoice, and that is through Shopify. The Shopify is good because it will give us
You show both things already?
yeah, I did the tracking on it, so you get tracking.
Well said. Good job.
Oh, thank you, my friends. All right, so I have 2 of these skeletons. I doctored them up. You can see they're a little bit more detailed. There's a lot more negative space. I went in with my wax tool and the wax and kind of improved their little faces. So these have a little bit more work. They're detailed on both sides. They are kind of a heavyweight piece. I wouldn't suggest this for an earring unless you're trying to make a weight. So each one of these, let's see, it's cast in sterling. All right, what does it say? 42. That's 384. There's a hole at the bottom, and there's a hole at the top. I don't know if you can see that. And he has a little heart. These I carved after a trip to Paris. And after, I mean, I was like 10 years later, I remembered it. But we went to the catacombs, and it kind of freaked me out. Because you go down the stairway, and you keep going for feels like 10,000 steps. And when you're finally at the bottom, it's like a maze built from bones. And it was done because the priests were running out of room to put the plague victims. And they stacked them up and made beautiful sculptures. So it was beautiful and macabre. So those, I have 2 of these sterling silver skeletons. They would make a great link or pendant. And that is 384.
The lot number.
Lot number. Okay, I have one of these. It's a little bronze bunny. It's one of my more popular pieces. And I have on the back a little fire. You've seen those wildflowers on the side of the road that are brilliant, brilliant red. Like redder than that top. I think it's called fireweed. So anyway, I carved one in like a, what do you call that? When you dig out the engraved, it's engraved thing. So it would show up as a dark little symbol. And it's a little Beatrix Potter type style. This is lot 399 and it's 24. It's cast in solid bronze. This would be a good one to use a patina on because you could get that bronze color. It's so beautiful. It's like a buttery golden color. It's really lovely. All right, I have this one of my favorites. My buddy Jessica Weasel carved this for me back in the day. And here's how it works. There's a bee. Check this out. And it has a little, see how that looks? There's a tiny, it's not tiny, but the little, what's that part called of the bee? I don't know what their little tip of their tail is called. But anyway, that's where you string it and you lock it into place here. So it's like this. It's one of my all-time best-selling clasps. And both sides are detailed, so if it flips. Cast in bronze. It's 46, $394. This has been, I've seen this strung with amber and citrines. I've seen it. Stinger. Thank you, Pat. The stinger. Exactly. So this has been, and then, so here's the hole right there where you put the rest of it. I would put this with, I got this strand I've been hanging on to for my whole life. Check out this amber. I bought this, about, I don't know, 10 years ago from my amber guy. And I was thinking about restringing it. I thought, hey, I'll put one of these. So I would put, if I were to do this, I would put this so that it showed up. Like that. Maybe on the side, maybe even right here, so you could see it. And if it flipped over, it'd still look good. Terry says, can you waitlist 394? If you would like, if there's, I see, right now I'm seeing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people. So what I'll do is I will make 5 of these for next week. Pat says, did you have this in copper too? Seems like mine is copper. Artist name again. Jessica Weasel made this for me. She has since passed last year. That's my bestie for ever since we were 18 years old. She had a problem with her heart. And we did not see it coming. All right, here is lot 396. And this is what you call an Ouroboros. It's a snake, but it's kind of a more of a symbolized, like a more of a graphic type of snake. I've detailed it, and I made it so that if you wanted to, you could wear it as a ring. Fits my finger anyway. And I'm about a 7 on this hand. So this is 396. It kind of gives me a Beetlejuice vibe a little bit, but it's pretty cute.
Yeah, it's just like that, huh?
It's pretty cute. This is an ancient symbol, ancient, and I made this for the express purpose of dangling things from. So what I like to do is I will put 2 little loops on either side and then hang things so that everything hangs down from this. And I've made them in the past where I could change out the bundle. And these bundles, I have one necklace of mine that has a very healthy bundle on it. Okay. All right, so I have this, my moth lady. She could be worn this way where you can see that she's a fairy, or this way where her hidden true nature is kept a secret. So you could wear it like this. And the way I've done this before is I put on an oval faceted bead. I love this size. Probably I would put this size with it, and look how good it looks. So I put that size. I guess it's like 10 millimeter long. So about a 10 millimeter long, and then dangle a teardrop that's about the same. So what you get is that sort of triangular, almost like a Y necklace, you know. And that, did I even say it? It's $3.95 for $40. Okay, I have one of these. This is a little octopus button. There is a carving that this is directly, when I say directly, there's a vase that I saw at, where was I? Oh, I was in Amsterdam. Okay, so when I was in Amsterdam, I saw this pot in a gallery, and it was an ancient pot. It wasn't even for sale. It was like a museum collection. And they used to paint these with all the arms. It's like protection from being drowned. So this is $3.98, $20. Terry says, reminds me of Cthulhu. Mm-hmm. I like that you said that. I was thinking, that from those stories, those H.P. Lovecraft stories, there was this creature called the Shub-Niggurath. And when Azalea was like 5, I was reading those stories to her, and whenever I'd say,
definitely made an impact. Definitely made me different from the other ones in my class.
Here, pass me the next thing.
This is the last of the bronze tonight.
Oh, last of the bronze. Pat says, can you teach us to make hanging bundles from center circle interchangeable? Oh, I just assumed everybody knew how to do that. Okay, Terry. Gosh, I don't know why I haven't shown that before. Dang. Debbie says, do you send invoice to our email? If you are one of our frequent flyer customers, we will send it to your email. That's how the invoice goes. If we don't have your email address, then we can't send you an invoice. So send any kind of correspondence. You can send it to this email address right here, Greengirlstudios at Yahoo, or you can go to our website and just hit that website that's on there. I think it's Azalea at iCloud.com or Facebook.
They don't need to know my email address, because if you just click the contact button on the Greengirlstudios website, it'll just go directly to my inbox. Mm-hmm. No input needed.
This is one of my favorite pieces. Really happy with the way this came out. $3.93. And I have one of these. So this is made in two pieces because the figure is one part, and then the wings are a separate part. She is strung from her back between the wing blades, and she's more. I made this as a sculpture for a miniature design, if you can imagine it, for dollhouse miniatures, and then I decided I wanted it as a pendant. So anyway, it is 184. Lot 184, and it's 112. It's a little pricey because there's a lot of extra work to make this. It's not an easy piece to make. And sometimes when we make them, the heads blow out. So you just get this headless thing like this, or like a part of the wing. It's a kind of a hard cast. So we don't make this very often. And it's particularly lovely. I'm going to take off this necklace and I'm going to show you. I made one of these for a friend of mine as a trade, and this is what I did for the chain. So I love doing this chain, and if you can picture it, these are opals on there and with gold filled chain, and these aren't even that great of an opal, but they look, since they're separated with like as though they're really precious, it looks really good. And then you can kind of pad out the rest of it if you don't want to do the wire up all the way, with a little bit of silver chain to kind of extend it. And then I'll do a drop at the end, like a briolette, and put a hook or a lobster claw on the end so I can make it somewhat adjustable. Okay. You can put that tray if you want to put it so that
There's no tray. I didn't find a tray in time.
Oh, you know what I haven't had in a long time? Wendy says, good Lord, Pearl, poor girl losing her head. Yes. Terry says, I need to make some gem chain. I know I can, but I keep avoiding it. Gem chain is fun. Gem chain is very fun. Oh, if you want to do gem chain, check this out. This is chrome dioxide. This is not dyed. If I have anything that's dyed, I will let you know. I always like to know. I don't want to say something as what it's not. So this, while it looks like emerald, and I have had emeralds, this is not emerald. It is chrome dioxide. This is the actual color. It's more of a forest green. On my screen, I'm looking at it, and it looks kind of dark. Let me see if I can get it.
In the light, it's very majestic.
In the light, it's more a true green. I'm going to see if I can't get that to show a little bit more on there. It's very sparkly, but I'm not sure how if it shows up. So this is $25 for this amount. It's AAA grade quality. The lot is $387. Let me see how many I have. I have 4 of this.
I know.
Let's see. So this is, it's kind of an apple green color. It's a really pretty color. So it's $387. And these also have a nice hole size. So they would work well for micro cord for sure. Or even a little bit thicker cord, like regular Ceylon size. So I'm looking at this bead hole size here. That looks like it has a pretty generous hole. And I've used this before, so I stocked up on this. It's this is, why is that turquoise? I can't believe I was staring at this and turquoise was evading me. So this turquoise, I believe, these are cut in Mexico from my friend Callie. Has a business and gets really nice quality stone. A lot of this stone is mined in the U.S. Some comes from Afghanistan. You get the Afghanistan kind looks more greenish. The African is more like this color. I have some African turquoise somewhere, but this type, I believe, comes from Nevada region. It's not Sleeping Beauty, although Sleeping Beauty, if it were Sleeping Beauty, would be this color right here, and it would be the whole thing. So since it's a mixed strand of a little bit of blues and greens in there, it's not considered the Sleeping Beauty, and it's not stabilized. It's pretty nice, excellent quality. I was gonna say pretty nice, but it's excellent quality. $388, $25. Well drilled, beautiful velvety blue. It's like Asheville skies right there. Terry says those look like Sleeping Beauty. That, you know, if they are more of that pure blue, that's the Sleeping Beauty, because it's like that. It's just a perfect sky blue, and it should all be that color. That's the trick of that.
Okay, do you want me?
Just
We
hand me the
have-
rest of it, and I'll you know.
You can make your choice. So here's this, and then we can
Terry
check
says
it.
that is a steal. Well, it's not. It's not Sleeping Beauty, Terry. It's I'm not 100%, but I believe that comes from a friend of mine that has the American turquoise. Is it American turquoise? I can't think the name of it. They're over at the Pueblo or Roadway, I mean. Okay, so here's the next thing. So this is, I don't know if you can see this. This is really gorgeous. I don't know if anyone's going to like this. It's $3.91. This is moss aquamarine. It's the big pieces. They are really nice. So this has that really pretty color shift. When you hold them up, they are kind of a watery greenish blue. And in certain light, they look gray. And in the other light, they're kind of, I don't know, they're kind of mysterious. So anyway, this is lot 391. Perfect quality. Nice whole size on that. And these would make excellent earrings. What I would do with this would be to make these into earrings, because they're pretty good, but they're sparkly and pretty. But I think these are excellent with earrings, and I would pair that with a ruby for sure. Like a pink ruby would look awesome with that. Actually, let's see. I have some rubies that I use in my charm necklaces or in my treasure necklaces. This stuff right here, and that's what I would pair it with. So these are pale pink ruby, and here I'll show the proof of it. Here's my light. I'm going to show this. Okay, so I've had this in the past. If you have enjoyed this type of stone in the past, you'll probably like it again. All right, so rubies, they have under UV light, the presence of chromium is what causes it to fluoresce. So see if you can see it. You can see how it looks when the UV shines on it. That's the difference between rubies and sapphires, is ruby has the what you call it. What did I just say? Chromium. There it is. So that's $3.90. Yes, rubies are pricey. I use them. I love them. But
Heavy.
it's a heavy good strand, and they're drilled pretty well. So if you were like, oh, I'm going to make these into earrings, they have a nice big hole there where you could put that on a head pin.
Well, look what they're strung on right now. It's thick fishing line.
Thick fishing line. Yeah, so see, here's what. So right here's my bracelet. You can see that is ruby right there. All right. Almost next to last. Oh, well, where's my light? Okay, so this is $3.89. These are rubies. That one is a ruby right there. See the shine? And sapphires. So they're a big size. So if you were to make a treasure necklace, there's a little bit of a star on these. There's that one. You can see that, the ruby. I don't know if folks like these. I bought these for myself, and I thought, hey, I'll share them. But that's $3.89 for this. This is a heavyweight ruby and sapphire mix. Terry says, Cynthia, how can we tell fuseshite from zozite with ruby? So corundum or chromium, let me see if I can show this. Pass me that. Where's that one? Let me see if I can. I don't know if I have it at hand. So ruby, if it's in there, will show up just like I showed just now. Let me see if it shows it. When there's that glow there, that's the chromium that's present in the ruby. You can see that there. And there's a little on this from the white. When ruby and zozite, which is a green, It also, there's ruby and kyanite, because some stones will grow together if the conditions are right. The minerals they'll keep continuously grow. It's like a seed. They'll grow together. Like sometimes you'll have hessonite garnet growing on top of the smoky quartz. And that, if you can see the coloration from the ruby, that will let you know if it's ruby and zoisite. And fuchsite generally will not have that I have seen. And maybe it just depends on what kind of stone it is. Like I've had some fuchsite, but it was mostly like pink and green. And if I look at it, usually what I do is I have my book with stones in it that I can compare, or on the internet. Like I'll do a Google search and make sure. Because you don't want to sell something and be like, oh, I thought it was ruby, but it's actually pink tourmaline, All right, so did that one. Now, the last thing I have here is this little kit here. Well, the ruby is in it, so I think if zoisite has more, let me see, what is the other one? I think fuchsite's softer, but there's still ruby. I'll have to look it up. That's a good question. I'll research that during the week and see. So right here, this is topaz. I've never seen this color, so I was pretty excited about it. This is not garnet, this is topaz. And you can tell because garnet has a softer, like an edge. Like this is garnet here. This is hessonite right here. So it might look the same to you, but maybe I'll put this other light on it to really show. Does that help to see the colors? Because on my screen they look a little dark. Because in the real life they're a very beautiful burnt orange. So what's in here in this collection of beads? We're putting some micro cord to go along with it. So if you want to string it on this will work. There's also amber and some tiny hessonites in a small size. And also these are from the inside of a geode. So they're like little geode crystals. Aren't those so cute? So there's geode crystals in there. It's a pretty nice little collection. But these are the rare pieces right here, because this is the most delicious bittersweet orange in a topaz. Isn't that crazy? Topaz comes in a lot of colors. I love it in a London blue color. It mostly comes in like a gold, but here it is a juicy orange. So I only have 4 of this kit. There wasn't a lot to begin with of that hessonite. So this is $3.92. So $3.92 for this little collection. It comes in a little tin. So I will ship it with a little bit of padding. And it comes with a little bit of this. So you can begin right away. If you wanted to make this in, I believe this would make a gorgeous, I'm showing it with that lid on, but the lid does not show how juicy that little kit is. So there's a lot of good stuff in there. All right. I went over today. Over. Okay, I'm going to switch the camera around. Thank you, Pat. Pat says, love your curated beads. You have the eye for great gems. I like to have what I like to
pick what you're going to use.
Pick what I'm going to use, what I like. How come this isn't tracking anything? Let's look at this.
Let me do it. Here you
go. It's like the mouse went quiet.
Maybe the batteries died or something.
Oh, yeah, maybe. All right, my friends. Azalea will send out invoices in the next day or so. If there's something you're into and you didn't get an invoice for, you can send a message or put it in a comment of something. And what we'll do is I make a list of things when people like it. I have no way of knowing what folks are going to want from week to week. So I don't want to make like 10, 15 of something and then have it cast in silver. Silver is expensive, no matter. I mean, I don't know if anyone's looked at the prices. It's high. So whatever I'm going to make, I want to make sure that I can move it within a month or so. So what I usually like to do is make a handful, 2 or 3. And then if they sell, I'll know to make a few more. Or if I see like 5 people wanted it, what I'll do is I'll make more. And I make a note, like in my mind, I thought, okay, so I need to make 5 more of that B clasp so that, I'm not going to make too many of them. You don't want to be stuck with a ton of stock. All right. I see a question there. Cynthia, could you potentially release a monthly curated mix? Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. I would love that. I would love to do that. Usually I make a mix every month or so. We try to make a nice mix. We have the latest one. I don't know if we're sold out, but we did another porcelain berry, and I used a little bit different stones for this one. I really like it, and I wonder if it's sold out. But if it hasn't, it's one to check out because that's a really beautiful, beautiful mix. I just got some beads in, and there's some, for perfect for malls. I am now that I knot, I will never be tired of knotting. And I found some good beads that I'd never seen. So I'm excited to show you within the next couple of weeks, hopefully, or maybe for our midwinter market for TGBE. So, Wendy says, I'm going to have to start a fund for the stones you get at the Tucson show. Oh, yes. Yeah, start putting a little aside for that because the show is, the shows are coming up. Terry, you don't need a knotting tool. Just forget about that knotting tool. Just use 2 threads. Go back and watch one of those tutorials on 2 threads. You'll love it. You won't even need it. You don't even have to cut anything. When you use a knotting tool, you have to cut your thread.
Measuring and math,
and you got to measure it right. And because if you don't, what's going to happen? You're going to be short. And then when you try to put it on, it's going to be 1 bead short of being a choker. And then it's frustration time. So my friends, I will see you on Wednesday. We will do something fun. All right, my friends. Oh, I see my friend Donna. Hey, Donna, you going to Tucson? I hope so. Maybe we can do like a big, I don't know. I'm always like, let's do a party. But then I'm like, wait, this is not 2015 when we're renting out a big house. This is 2024 and it's a different time. All right, my friends. Thank you for joining me this evening. I hope you had a good time learning a thing or 2 on waxwork and maybe a little on sketchbook techniques. I will see you all this Wednesday for our 7 o'clock magic hour, and we will see you soon. Okay, my friends, love you out there. All right, good night.